Okay, these videos are brought to you by G66 UK. That's the place in the UK where you can get yourself an FM3, an FM9 or an OC3, all of which will be relevant to this video because you'll be able to do this on all of them. And you have a UK service centre, no import charges, all good news. So that's G66 UK. Now, I noticed on the Facebook group, Andrew had left a comment and just asked like, how would you do this sort of thing in the fractal world? So he was talking specifically about a little trick that the Boss OC3 can do, which essentially, well, you're hearing it there, right? So if I get rid of this particular block here, you'll hear what is essentially going on. Is that I have an octave under the stuff that I'm playing, right? Now the OC3 has this thing, you recognise that maybe that is a little bit overbearing, right, and getting a little bit overpowering. What the OC3 can do, and I think the OC3 to some extent does this thing with the range knob, where it kind of sort of filters out essentially the lower, or filters in the lower notes and filters out the higher notes, so that you get more of this sort of thing. So if I just go to scene 1, so this is no bass, into a Deluxe Reverb is what you're hearing this, and then bass. And so this can then do that kind of thing, where it's sort of mimicking it and sort of tracking your lowest note. There are other ways that you could possibly do some things around this involving the pitch follower, but this is the way that I felt that I could actually get my head around. So you see, or can hear, hopefully, that it's filtering out a lot of this stuff. Now, in order to get this to work quite well, kind of like on the pedal itself, you're going to want to maybe keep about an octave between your lowest note and then where the rest of the chord is, because, well, it should be alright. But if you've got kind of notes on both the E and A string, the low string, you'll probably find that things don't work quite as well as if you keep like that, a bit of separation. So what have we actually got going on in the chain? I'll show you through it now. There are some other options that I'll run you through, but this seemed to work best for me. So first of all, we've got a filter. The low pass filter, type second order. I guess there are different ways that you could experiment with this for you. But this is kind of just what I found worked quite well for me. So 57.7 Hertz is the frequency. The Q 1.662, so you see it kind of ramps up before coming back down. The gain I've got boosted slightly into the pitch block. And then the high cut all the way down at 200 Hertz. Now, if I could go lower than that, I probably would, but I can't. So that's the filter block. Then we have the pitch block, and what this is doing is I'm in virtual capo mode, the shift down -12, and the detector source is the block in, not the input 1 or input 2. The reason that makes a difference is because we just filtered out a lot of that stuff, so hopefully it's going to track a little bit cleaner and kind of focus on the lower end stuff. The low cut and high cut I've not really touched. The level is being pushed by 2 dB. And then I've got a compressor to kind of even it out a bit. I might even, and I think I did this actually, I filtered out some of the lower end, and you could even get rid of a little bit more of that. And if you were on the FM9 or the Axe effects, you could also run that into a second amp. You could run that through a bass amp, for instance, and run like a separate chain. I wanted to do this on the FM3 because if we can do it here, you can definitely do it elsewhere. So that is essentially what's going on there. The pitch block I've got set to mute in bypass mode, so that if I bypass the pitch for no bass, essentially this chain then gets chucked out of the mix, so that I've got my normal Deluxe Reverb thing going on. Now the amp itself, I've got the gain at 3, bass at 3.79, treble at 5, the level at -5.5, which might be clipping slightly if I check the output. It's fairly extreme at the moment, so you can actually hear the effect. You might want to experiment with changing the mix there, whether you take down the compressor level, and that will kind of give you a nice way to kind of mix into the amp. The cab is just factory 1288, and the reverb, I've just got a Recording Studio A. I may experiment with some, if I add in like a scene 3, where this will be like my lead tone now then. So that you could try the octave divider. This doesn't track quite as well though. So I need to change that to channel A. Bit more of a growly bass sound, but I felt like the virtual capo does a bit of a better job. So bypass for our lead sound, and let's chuck in a Zen drive. So that could work really well for kind of loopy stuff, or just somewhere where you're thinking, you know, this could do with a bit of thickening in the bass area. Kind of works. Hopefully that's something like what you were after, Andrew. Maybe I'll just add a delay block. Give that a try. If you want to try this in the Gumroad folder, add bass is going to be the name of the preset. This should work on FM9 and Axe FX3. You just need to drag it in rather than using the preset import. Just literally drag it in and put it where you want it. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers for stopping by.